In Donald Trump's attempt to normalize the absolute highest amount of stupidity, incompetence, and absolute just unqualifiedness, if that's even a word, in government, Donald Trump is now pushing the biggest bum to ever possibly grace the Department of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to be the Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth yesterday had his little hearing to figure out if he would be qualified for the job, and they grilled him on every single situation he's had in his past. They asked this man, if you were to be drunk on the job, because this guy's got a drinking problem. He denies it just like Trump denies everything he does on camera. This guy is asked point blank clearly, given your alcohol problem, would you resign in the event that you were drunk on the job? This absolute nincompoop sits there in front of the entire country and says no, he wouldn't resign.
I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited? You recently promised some of my Republican colleagues that you stopped drinking and won't drink if confirmed, correct?
Absolutely.
Will you resign as Secretary of Defense if you drink on the job, which is a 24/7 position?
I've made this commitment on behalf of the men and women I'm serving.
Will you resign as Secretary of Defense
I've
if
made
you
this commitment
drink
on
on the
behalf
job?
of the men and women I'm serving.
I'm not
because it's the
hearing-
most important deployment
I'm
of
not
my
hearing an
life.
answer to my question, so I'm going to move on.
When asked if this man would resign in the event that he was caught drunk on the job, he won't answer. But you know what? We're not going to sit there and entertain this nonsense of, oh, he didn't answer, so he gave no answer. No, he basically said no. I won't be resigning if I get caught drunker than a skunk on the job. If I'm higher than Future and every other drug rapper combined, it's all good. I won't be going anywhere. The reason why he wants this drunk stooge who has more alcohol in his blood than possibly every alcoholic on the planet combined, the reason he wants this stooge to be Secretary of Defense is so Donald Trump can deploy the military against you, against me, against Greenland, against Panama, against Canada. That's why he needs this bum to be in charge of the military, so Trump can be the one who's truly in charge of the military. And you want to know how I know that's the case? When asked whether or not he would follow an order that was unconstitutional or illegal from Donald Trump, he wouldn't give an answer, which we're not even going to entertain that stupid ass shit on this channel. Basically what he's saying is, I will obey. If Trump asks me to engage in some ridiculous invasion, I'll do it. If Trump asks me to use lethal weaponry against citizens through the use of the military, I will do so. Watch.
In June of 2020, then President Trump directed former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper to shoot protesters in the legs in downtown D.C., an order Secretary Esper refused to comply with. Would you carry out such an order from President Trump?
Senator, I was in the Washington, D.C. National Guard unit that was in Lafayette Square during those
Would you
events,
carry
holding
out
a
an
riot
order to
shield on
shoot
behalf of my
protesters
country.
in the legs?
I saw 50
as
Secret
directed
Service agents
to
get injured
Secretary
by
Esper?
rioters trying to jump over the fence, set
Again,
the church on fire, and destroy
You know
a
what? That
statue.
sounds to me that you will
Chaos.
comply with such an order. You will shoot protesters in the leg.
When asked if he would actually kill his own countrymen who are protesting, he can't even say yes or no. He can't even say yes or no. For those of you who sat out this election in the name of God knows what, realize and recognize what you signed up for. The new Department of Defense is now being headed by a guy who may or may not pop your ass in the leg if you're screaming too loud at Daddy Donald, if you're yelling a little bit too loud. Too much protesting going on over there. A little bit too much First Amendment going on over there. Might need to pop your motherfucking ass. That's what we're dealing with right now. So for those of you who are happy to sit there and teach the Democrats a lesson or teach Joe Biden or Kamala a lesson, your ass gonna be the first one in class. Ain't nobody else learning but you. Real talk. This man literally cannot determine, he can't answer clearly or concisely whether or not he will kill his own countrymen for protesting if Donald Trump asks him to, with his excuse being Secret Service members got hurt in a protest. Why you go into a protest on purpose to take a bullshit photo shoot, and then you're surprised when protesters are possibly harming law enforcement officials or Secret Service members? Why are you disturbing a protest to take a fucking photo shoot, and then when bullshit happens because you're stirring up bullshit, now all of a sudden you want to shoot protesters? These people are children of the devil. That's who they are and what they are. I don't care. I'm saying it. I don't care. These people are genuinely evil. Pete Hegseth is just Trump's little minion. You can't even answer whether or not you shoot your own countrymen at the order of a fucking rich kid billionaire called Donald Trump. It's unbelievable to me how willing and desiring these people are to serve the rich and the powerful if asked. It's fucking weird. He can't even answer a basic question. It gets even worse. He can't even answer the question later on a second time in the hearing.
What I think I'm most concerned with is that no president has the right to use the uniformed military in a way that violates the U.S. Constitution and further taints the military as that apolitical institution that we all want. Do you agree that there are some orders that can be given by the commander-in-chief that would violate the U.S. Constitution?
Senator, thank you for your service. But I reject the premise that President Trump is going to be giving illegal orders.
No, I'm not saying he will, but do you believe there is such a thing as an illegal order that Joe Biden or any other president, Donald Trump, could give? Is there anything that a commander-in-chief could ask you to do with the uniformed military that would be in violation of the U.S. Constitution?
Senator, anybody of any party could give an order that is against the Constitution or against the law.
Right. Okay. So are you saying that you would stand in the breach and push back if you were given an illegal order?
I start by saying I reject the premise that President Trump will be giving
you've done your
any
genuflecting
illegal
to him,
orders
but
at all.
This isn't a hypothetical. So Donald
scenario.
Trump asked for the active duty 82nd Airborne to be deployed during that same time. Secretary Esper has written that he convinced him against that decision. If Donald Trump asked you to use the 82nd Airborne in law enforcement roles in Washington, D.C., would you also convince him otherwise?
I'm not going to get ahead of conversations I would have with the president. However,
you know all that crying and screaming Dave Smith and all the other centrists and libertarians and anti-establishment goons were doing about the Iraq War and the endless wars and the warmongers in Washington and Zelensky so bloodthirsty and Russell Brand and all these fucking nitwits. All that screaming they were doing about the illegal wars, the endless wars. What's that punk-ass Tulsi Gabbard? All of them. Well, Pete Hegseth was asked if Trump decides to have you utilize the military to attack our allies, to attack NATO allies, because once you invade Greenland, a territory of Denmark, you have now declared war on NATO. Would you do it if Trump asked you to? Would you invade Canada if he asked you to? Would you take over the Panama Canal if he asked you to? This man won't even give a clear and concise answer. If it is not clear enough to you that Republicans believe in nothing and destroy everything, I don't know what could possibly be clearer.
President-elect has attacked our allies in recent weeks, refusing to rule out using military force to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, and threatening to make Canada the 51st state. Would you carry out an order from President Trump to seize Greenland, a territory of our NATO ally Denmark, by force, or would you comply with an order to take over the Panama Canal?
Senator, I will emphasize that President Trump received 77 million votes to be the lawful commander-in-chief of this country.
We're not talking about the election. My question is, would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
That sounds to me that you would contemplate carrying out such an order to basically invade Greenland.
These people will do whatever it is they want when they want. Morals are something you are supposed to have. Standards are something you are supposed to have. Consistency is something they expect from you. But them, They can relinquish, they can unburden themselves with all those nasty things like morals and ethics and standards and consistency. Ugh, disgusting. You, on the other hand, liberal American, true American, you have to actually hold yourself to these things called consistency. And his explanation for why it's all good is because Donald Trump never tips his hand. You fucking idiot. If you threaten your allies, no matter what 4D chess little plan you have in your head, that has a domino effect. They're going to start treating you like a possible threat. They might stop sharing classified information with you. They might start preparing for you to invade. They might start treating your nation like a possible enemy country. They might cut off trade. These kinds of things have consequences. The idea that Donald Trump's behavior is in a vacuum and causes absolutely zero consequences is a MAGA fantasy. It is a fantasy. And the consequences are reality. You can't run away from what kind of consequences Trump's language is going to cause. But these people, time and time again, show that they don't listen. They never listen. So what I want you all to understand is never, ever, 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 ever let MAGA ever pretend to be the party of peace, to be the party of peace through strength. These people adore war. They love war. They were the ones who got us involved in Iraq. This is the reality of it. This is who these people are. They've always been bloodthirsty, just creatures of just destruction. That's who they have always been. Don't let them try to convince you of anything else. That's exactly who and what these people are. So then it comes out that this guy cheated on the mother of his child less than 2 months after the kid was born. So Trump and him got something in common. Have a baby with a chick who's supposedly your wife, smash somebody else while she's literally nursing your infant child. I don't know what goes on with these niggas. I don't know what's wrong with these niggas. But something is clearly wrong with these niggas. When asked about these things, which he's already admitted to being true, he says they're false charges, which none of these are charges, by the way. You're just being accused of something. It's not a charge. You can always just say, hey, it didn't happen, I didn't do it. But then he's asked, let's say you had committed a form of sexual assault. Let's just say that were the case, or let's just say anyone had committed sexual assault and they were proven guilty of having done it. Would they or would they not be disqualified from being Secretary of Defense? He can't even give an answer. He keeps saying, well, I didn't do it. It's false. It's false. It's false. It didn't happen. I didn't do it. That's fine. They're asking you, hypothetically, if somebody were to be that kind of person, should they or should they not be qualified for the job? He can't even answer.
You had just fathered a child 2 months before by a woman that was not your wife. I am shocked that you would stand here and say you're completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges. Well, it was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And I am so grateful for the marriage I have to this amazing woman behind me.
You've admitted that you had sex at that hotel in October 2017. You said it was consensual. Isn't that correct?
Anything?
You've admitted that it was consensual, and you were still married, and you just had a child by another woman.
Again,
how do you explain your judgment?
Completely false charges against me. You fully investigated, and I was completely clear.
You have admitted that you had sex while you were married to wife 2 after you just had fathered a child by wife 3. You've admitted that. Now, if it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it?
It was a false claim then and a false claim now.
If it had been a sexual assault, that would be disqualifying to be Secretary of Defense, wouldn't it?
That was a false claim.
So you're
talking about a hypothetical.
So you can't tell me whether someone who has committed a sexual assault is disqualified from being Secretary of Defense?
Senator, I know in my instance, and I'm talking about my instance only, it was a false claim.
But you acknowledge, that you cheated on your wife and that you cheated on the woman by whom you had just fathered a child. You have admitted that.
I will allow your words to speak for themselves.
You're not retracting that today. That's good.
Y'all need to realize Donald Trump is putting these kinds of characters in office for a purpose, for a reason. These people are completely bereft of any morals or standards or anything. Completely bereft. It's not even like he's a piece of shit who's good at his job. It's none of it. None of it. It's just complete incompetence and total just like, he's just literally, I can't even find the words. He's a bum. He's literally a bum from top to bottom. Okay, there's some people in this world who are total assholes, but they're good at their job. This guy, not only is he an asshole, but when you knock on the office door, hey Pete, you in there? He laid out on the table drunk as hell, damn near dead. You gotta check to see if the nigga's dead. Pete, are the lights on? Is anybody home? Are you dead? That's the guy we're about to have as a Secretary of Defense. A dude who at any moment is closer to death's door than some kid on the battlefield getting shot at because he's drunk. Like, bro, like, I'm not, bro, this is it's not unbelievable, but it's like, people don't even realize how unbelievably absurd this actually is. This is the man who's now going to be in charge of people's kids who are signing up to be soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, members of the Coast Guard. It is a total joke that this guy could be in charge of all of that. I sincerely hope that when this is all over, everyone who contributed to this becoming a reality is shunned by society. I hope every single congressman, male and female, who contributed to this happening goes to this thing called jail. I sincerely hope that when this is all said and done, conservatives are not able to pretend like they had nothing to do with it like they always do. That is what I hope. It is unbelievable that Pete Hegseth is in any way, shape, or form considered for this job. This man is a bum. This man is absolutely unqualified in every conceivable way. He's literally up there with Trump in terms of just absolute trash human being and just trash at his job in every conceivable way. These people are the heralds of destruction. It is ridiculous that this guy could even possibly be in charge of anything. It is ridiculous. If you liked this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. I'm out.